And we are back with a new video, and today we're going to talk about this fiasco, which is the Dodge Daytona EV, the Dodge Charger Daytona EV, which ultimately we were promised a Banshee, and it was insinuated that Banshee would be in 2024, but they were careful not to say that explicitly, but it did get published in articles, and some of us, some of you, I did not believed that that was going to happen. Now, I knew when they were careful about what they were saying in that rollout with Tim Kuniskis at Speed Week that they were careful not to say 2024, but the press and many people took it as that's what's going to happen. But here's the deal. If you believe that, don't feel bad, because it would only make logical sense considering that they had just announced that they were killing the Dodge Charger and Challenger Hemi cars, the L platform, in 2023, never to return. So anyone with any brain whatsoever would think, well, it would make sense that they would be rolling out a 2024 platform. By no means would anyone in their right mind think that all they would roll out would be the Dodge Hornet and some Durangos that they keep telling us is going away, but it's coming back again. The Hellcats are back, but they're not, but now they're back again. We would be normal to believe that in 2024 they would have come out with something to replace one of their best-selling cars that they have ever had in their inventory at Dodge, but we were wrong. See, they had no intention and no ability and no plan on how they were going to launch that Banshee. They were riding off of the Demon Energy and the last call story while their dealers were gouging the daylights out of everyone for markups and massive, massive prices on those demons. Dodge was saying, well, we've got this Banshee thing. They didn't say 2024, but we all assumed that. And then somewhere along the line, I think they realized it. And someone in a meeting said, hey, what the hell are we going to sell them in 2024? Somebody said, well, let's get this EV, Daytona, Scat Pack and RT launched in 2024 because we need to be green. We need to get these EVs out there, force them down their throats, force them to say goodbye to the Hemi with a smile and start driving one of these electric things. And let's tell them that they're going to come out mid-2024. And that's what happened. They ended up coming out and saying that. But then things kind of went sideways. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I put together 10 reasons they are a fiasco. 10 things that led up to the disaster, which is the Dodge Charger Daytona EV, which I'm hoping the rest of the press will pick up. No question, if you're watching TK's videos and Butter's videos, you're getting great information. And I will tell you, go watch TK's videos because he's got some real insiders sending him pictures of Dodge Daytona Chargers that they're saying are broken and unable to get delivered, unable to sell, and they are not able to move them. I did reach out to a Dodge dealer that I've worked with in the past and asked him, so what's the deal? Do you have these Daytona EVs showing up? And he said, we have a couple orders in, but they're all being, showing as a build status that they're getting shipped to storage. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you watch TK's videos, it sounds like it means they're not willing to deliver them to the customers yet. And based on the fact that they were delayed due to electrical issues, more on that in a minute, it makes me believe that these stories that TK is sharing right now are absolutely legitimate. But I can't say that for a fact. He's got the sources, so I'll refer you to his channel. But boy, does it sound plausible and beyond legitimate. And I'll hand it to him. He said things 2 months before. They ended up in the mainstream press. So I got to say there's a lot of credibility there with his videos. So check those out. But today I want to share with you the 10 reasons why I believe that Daytona EV is dead. It's dead coming to the market. It was dead because of everything that they did wrong along the way. And I think you're going to laugh when you see how this thing fleshed out, how it happened at their own hand, their own destructive hand. A CEO that's lost, has no clue what the hell he's doing, yet was paid $40 million to do his job, to basically destroy this company. I know we've talked about this many times before, but here's the roadmap on how they got there. And I'm hoping one of them, CEOs or top executives, watch this video and go, makes sense. Like we were watching it all along. It was in the forums everywhere as they were doing the stupid things. But when I lay it out like this, I think it's pretty interesting and pretty shocking. So let's start off with the first thing. The first thing they did wrong, the first biggest thing that they did wrong that was driven by lots of greed. And I have no problem with capitalism and people can do what they want to do. But when interest rates were really, really low, all the car makers, all the automakers were able to raise prices on their cars. But Stellantis went above and beyond the price increases and has been lauded and recognized as the company that raised prices the most on their products. And then they're shocked when things don't sell, when interest rates go up. But they raised prices so incredibly high in concert with their dealerships that were tacking on additional big markups and add-ons and lying and telling us all these cars were investments. They would go up in value. You've watched my other videos. You know they were capitalizing on people who really good. I'm not going to bash those people, but they really believed it. I've met people at Cars and Coffee who told me their car is going to go up in value, and I want to give them a hug and say, I know you want to believe that because the salesman told it to you, and he's standing in a $20 million building dealership telling you that, and it sounds plausible because it's the last ones ever to be made. You love them, but not everybody does, and these are mass-produced, injection molded stamped cars. So bottom line is that's number one. They raised prices way too high, but along the way, as they raised prices, they continued to reduce quality. Some of you who have bought these last call cars or bought Demons have found out that the build quality left a lot to be desired. I know in my 2023 last call Scat Pack Shaker Swinger Special Edition, my door panel was peeling off and I had a few minor build quality issues, meaning bolts weren't fully tightened on parts on the car that was causing it to break down. I've sorted those issues out. The door panel's still not perfect, but the car overall has been great since we've worked out the bugs. But I got to tell you, others have had bigger issues, and those videos are on my channel, Butter's channel, as well as TK's channel. You can go watch those. But the build quality went down. So quality went down, prices went up. That's a problem, and they thought none of us would notice. Well, while interest rates were at 2.9%, 1.9% with our banks and credit unions, we kind of didn't notice. But as soon as rates went up, boy, did we notice. At this point, we're going to pay that kind of money for a car. It shouldn't be having problems, but they did. Stellantis, along the way, made a decision, and this is after they announced they're going to be launching that Daytona in the summertime. They went out and started laying off lots and lots of employees. But then they went and decided to lay off hundreds of engineers that they said were in the U.S. $150,000 to $200,000 in annual salary to pay these people. Well, that tells me that they were really smart people. They were really good engineers. But they were trading those engineers for engineers in Brazil and Monaco, or Brazil and Morocco for $50,000. I saw one article where it was $53,000 for an engineer compared to $150,000 to $200,000 in the US and even in Europe. So they got rid of all those engineers, really smart people that were able to really solve problems, build some good quality cars, regardless of some of you haters out there. I've had no problem with 8 of these cars. Suddenly we have all these little issues and Demons are blowing up and all these other issues. And the Daytona's still not here in 2024 as a 2024 model. So they laid off all those engineers for cheap engineers. And one thing I've learned in my lifetime, and I've definitely been burned by, is you can't get good things for cheap. You just can't. Once in a while you might get a deal, but most of the time, if you're going to cheap out, you're going to get what you pay for. And in this case, Carlos, in all his infinite wisdom as the CEO, decided, no, I'm a delicate genius. I'm going to go hire $53,000 engineers, and didn't telegraph that punch into thinking, well, maybe I might have some issues with build quality, with the design of the cars, reliability of the cars, the quality of the cars. If I have engineers that have, in many cases, not built cars, not had anything to do with the cars, but they're, quote, engineers, and didn't have the experience level of potentially decades of building cars or working with Dodge, and now they're going to come in and just take over the helm, that's kind of crazy. To the extent that Carlos got on an airplane with his team, flew to America to say, listen, I don't know why build quality is going to crap in America, blaming it on the employees when you've got all the UAW workers stretched thin trying to launch cars while they're getting laid off. We start to see articles where Carlos is saying quality control issues are a problem and it's costing us big bucks. This article comes out and he starts blaming the US workers, blaming European workers, yet he's not willing to take responsibility that he led to this situation where the quality is going downhill. Yet again, prices are continuing to go up, but along with interest rates and everything else, frankly, for sale. Then Carlos decides, as the CEO of the company, along with Natalie Knight as CFO, to go and figure out how to cut costs on their suppliers, with their suppliers, of the stuff it takes they need to build these cars. Even to the extent he says, yeah, we're going to start even building some of this stuff, making some of this stuff ourselves, going ultra cheap, even to the extent that he started to sue one of his suppliers for raising prices in a market where inflation is clear. Everybody knows it's there. Salaries, costs of employees, costs of materials, everything has gone up. Yet Stellantis says, no, we're not going to pay more. Yet they're charging more for everything that they're selling. CEO's getting $40 million. Employees are getting laid off. And he wants the suppliers to take less money. Well, they're going to have to cut somewhere, right? They're going to have to cut in quality, or they're going to have to end the relationship. And Carlos is going to go find those savings somewhere else. So now he's cut in people. He's cut in product. And he's shocked now that these cars are being rolled off the line with problems. And they end up having problems, lots of problems. Let's talk about the next thing. The recalls start coming, and we've watched just in the last couple of years more recalls than you can imagine when it comes to Stellantis products. It's one after another, after another, after another, and it's not little recalls, it's big recalls, even to the extent that they sold a bunch of Durangos to a police department, and the police department had these things blowing up on them, and ultimately had to sell those things and get something else because they were unsafe to use as police vehicles. That is insane, and Stellantis' response was pretty ridiculous overall. Go check out my video on that topic. But the recalls started coming. Watch my last video that nobody watched. No, my feelings aren't hurt. Just a little bit. But go watch that video where over 700,000 Jeeps there's a lawsuit, are being considered a risk of catching on fire. That, to me, is a humongous problem. After other recalls surrounding fire issues with Jeeps. This is just one more issue on top of all those issues. This is incredible. Yet, again, Carlos is probably scratching his head. Well, maybe it's the workers. Maybe it's the people that we have. Maybe we need to lay off more people. Maybe we need to cut costs more, send more jobs overseas, get rid of more highly talented and high qualified engineers. And that won't result in any negative outcome. Wrong, because that's what's happening now. Next, Dodge announces they're going to roll out this Dodge Daytona Charger EV in mid-2024, and it'll be a 2024 model. They also say that they're going to roll out the ICE version, the twin-turbo i6 in the two-door, at the beginning of 2025. This is what they said initially. Everybody forgot. A lot of people forgot, but that's what they said. Yet now, when the 2025 ICE version, twin-turbo i6, the six-pack is pushed out till fourth quarter, and then suddenly they say, no, they're accelerating that to the beginning of summer. That was the original plan. This is like, oh, they don't remember us saying that. No, go back and look at the articles. They said that. They also said we would see these Charger EVs rolling around the highways that they were forcing down our throats. They're still not here. But then they came out in June, and they said it's going to be a 90-day delay. No worries, we got some electrical issues we're working through. And they called out August. August would be the month. End of August, let's assume, that we would start seeing these things hitting the streets. August comes, August goes. September comes, they end up later on in September, and then Matt McAleer gets up and does a video.
The day is finally here. Today is first call, as we officially open for orders on the all-new 24 model year Dodge Charger Daytona.
And he says, we're going to do first call. And I got to tell you, not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but I got to think these guys literally sat in a boardroom and said, hey, Matt, get up there, do a video, and let's see what kind of interest we got in this thing. Because we're taking a lot of heat from the the Dodge customers. Like there's not a single post on Instagram, not a single post anywhere on social media, not a single thing on Dodge Garage comments, not a single thing on YouTube where people are like excited about this EV. I mean, it's rare to find a positive comment. So why don't you do this first call thing? Try to generate some interest around this and offer a VIP opportunity for them, those people who put their orders in by October 31st. So he did the great video, and it was high energy, and it was wonderful, telling them all, get in there and sign up. I even went and called some dealerships who jumped on the bandwagon, and a couple of them said, oh yeah, we might have to mark these first call cars up. Like, we're shocked. They're going to do that. Like, we called that one out, only to find that the dealers that I've spoken to when I'm traveling around and walking into dealers, doing some of these videos, and even texted another person that I work with, have said, yeah, we don't have that many orders. We don't have people knocking our doors down for these things. Certainly aren't marking them up. They're going to be wildly expensive, and we don't even know what the hell's going on with them. So the dealers are in the dark as well. Could you imagine that? You're a dealer, and you don't know what the hell's going on with these things. So when the customers call, they go, well, it shows it's in build status, and then it's getting shipped to storage. And the client's like, what the hell does that mean? Storage? No, send it to me. I ordered it. I gave you a deposit. Send me my car. Well, I don't know why. Well, go watch TK's video, and I think we're starting to figure out why. All those engineers, all those employees, all that cutting of costs, all those reducing the quality of the materials and cheaping out of materials and going overseas for stuff, all that stuff's coming home to roost because they apparently, allegedly, can't get that thing on the damn road without it being a risk of bricking itself. That is downright comedy when you think about it. And as a non-EV fan, when it comes to a muscle car, I can't help but to laugh a little bit. But at the same time, I gotta say to y'all, here we are sitting in November. We're going to Thanksgiving next week. We're going to celebrate Thanksgiving and go into December. If they were to roll a car into a dealership saying that only 2024s were going to get the Stage 2 kit, they were going to get the beefed up horsepower.
For the inaugural 24 model year, every RT comes with a factory-installed direct connection Stage 1 upgrade. Every Scat pack includes the track pack and the factory-installed direct connection Stage 2 upgrade.
For no extra charge, I don't believe that, on these things, if you buy them in 2024 and then 2025s won't have that, they have yet to have addressed whether or not the 2025s will. If you go back and read the articles, it was just the first year, this first run. Well, there's barely any out there. So what are they going to do next year? Have the same exact price for less horsepower? We've been comparing all year how laughable this almost 5,000-pound monstrosity is compared to so many other cars. Tesla Model 3 Performances, Hyundai Ioniq N5Ns, that would smoke them and beat them. Yet that's with the Stage 2 kit. Without the Stage 2 kit, at the same price, $70,000, $80,000, this is laughable. And then they accelerate. They say they're accelerating the launch of the twin-turbo i6. Okay, great. To what? The date you promised us in the first place? Folks, all I can tell you that I'm sharing with you in this video is we're dealing with a company that is making history for stupidity, history for bumbling idiocy. I mean, what's going on with that company is downright a fiasco by definition. It's something I've never seen in my lifetime, and I will tell you, for all these reasons, I believe the Daytona Chargers, when they launch, they're dead. They're dead. I mean, people are going to buy them. There will be people that buy them that are all, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, and roll into Cars and Coffee with a fake exhaust to get made fun of. But in the end, when the car doesn't start up, doesn't run, or it has recall issues, because most first generation of brand new models, new cars, new platforms, everything else, generally have bugs to work out, yet they paid more money. They paid a lot of money for them to get that Stage 2 kit installed on that thing, to get the first one, that frankly you can't get the next year, so you only have like 1 month to get the thing. We're all gonna laugh. I mean, honestly, it's downright embarrassing. So I'm not telling you what to do. Buy it if you want to buy it, but you've got 1 month, Dodge, to get this thing to market to be able to call it a 2024. Otherwise, what's going to happen? It's going to be like that episode, for those of you young enough to remember, on I Love Lucy, and Lucy and Ethel working at the chocolate factory. on the conveyor belt, and the chocolates were coming down, and they couldn't get them packaged fast enough, and before you know it, they're eating the chocolates are piling up, and it's a total disaster. Well, that's what's going to happen. They're going to launch 2024s, and then 2025 is going to be coming in. They're still going to have 2024s that are unsold. They're creating the same exact situation they've been having with all their other cars that are piled up on lots. And then they're going to have to heavily incentivize these things, and then wham, they're going to bring out the twin-turbo i6 that's going to shut off all the EV sales and force them to dramatically drop prices. I don't know how this company survives this. I honestly don't know how they survive this. I mean, they've got a lot of money, and maybe they can get through it, but man, how Carlos survives this is beyond me. So with that, please let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Share this video, hit like, definitely subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.